Hey everybody, welcome back to another review week and day video. I don't know.
It's Sunday, right?
Yeah. So last week we did the video where we covered magic. Now I know I replied in the comments already numerous times saying it's coming next week, it's coming next week. Here it is, guys. Here's the magic items.
Yep.
I don't like these videos to be more than an hour. I try to keep them around that time. We were getting up there with the other videos, so I figured I'd cut it because I don't know how long we're going to take on these magic items. So magic items in 8th edition, I mean, they used to be years ago, before your time, Cullen. Every army book had a bunch in there.
Yes.
And then there was like a small handful of core magic items you can choose from. That's like less than 10. And then that slowly moved away over time where we have all of them in the core rulebook and armies had a few custom ones.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're all in the core rulebook.
With armies having few custom ones.
We use most of these items.
I was going to say, I think a majority of the magic items we do use come from this book with definitely less.
One or two from our books in our lists.
Yes.
But like, let's just go over these and discuss why we use them. And why we see the same ones over and over.
I was going to say, you're going to see a couple ones in here that are always coming up often, and it's going to kind of, I think, explain why.
And some that are like this one's Army X only ever uses it because of this.
Right.
That does happen quite a bit.
Okay.
Let's start off with the magic weapons. We'll hit that giant blade. It's 60 points for +3 strength. 20 points per 1 strength. That's very typical.
That's and as you see the other weapons, you'll see that they're going to go up with that price in mind. 60 points, so it can only be brought pretty much on Lords, because.
But like
100 point.
I often find that, in my opinion, I don't want to spend 60 points on that magic item because there's not even enough room for defense.
Yes.
Because and we won't go to order because I'll just kind of combine it. There's an Ogre Blade version of it, which is 40 points for +2 strength. If I want extra strength, that's a better pick.
Yes.
Almost always.
Yes.
Now there is an even weaker one called the Sword of Might +1 strength for 20 points. I have that in most of my armies, whichever faction I'm playing.
I don't bring it in Skaven because
because they don't fight. Actually, I don't bring it with my Lizardmen, but my High Elf BSB always has it. My Bretonnian BSB would always have it.
My Empire BSB always has it because it's cheap.
20 point plus
you can fit in the sword and a bit of magic protection, whether it's magic armor or a talisman, and still just give a little bit extra punch because your characters usually have a little bit of boosted stats anyway. So it just, like my Captains of the Empire, instead of hitting a strength 4, hit a strength 5. So that, you know what? That makes them actually kill
it's a big difference.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a big difference. There is another weapon called the Sword of Bloodshed. It's +3 attacks for 60 points. But there is the Sword of Strife for 40 points, +2 attacks. And then I think it's called the Sword of Battle?
Battle.
Where are you? Battle for 20 points +1 attack. I don't find these ever see play. I see some use with my Source Warriors because they already have a decent strength 5.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want extra attacks if I'm only strength 4.
That's kind of the thing. If you maybe on a chaos character, but I find that it's weird because you're paying 20 points for either an attack or an extra strength.
Yeah.
And what you already, because you're a character, you're also starting with a little bit decent number of attacks. So
where I've most commonly seen the Sword of Bloodshed actually be used is on a Vampire Blender Lord.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, he's strength 5, give him a bunch of attacks, and give him quick blood, and always strikes first. And
so for every wound he deals, he does an extra attack. So it's all about blend. Yeah. Like that is probably the only place I've ever ended up seeing it. I cannot think of it.
I agree. I can't think of any place else I've ever seen it.
Or where else you would even bring it and have it be relevant.
We got the Fencer's Blades. These are, I use them with my orcs a lot. It's a 35-point magic weapon that's actually paired blades.
Yes.
It gives you weapon skill 10.
I think that's the one thing that everyone always forgets is paired weapons. That's what I forgot when I...
Yeah, it's 2 weapons, so you have to be on foot. You
can't bring a shield.
No shield. You get an extra attack because it's paired weapons.
Ooh.
But you get weapon skill 10. Now, there's combos we'll talk later on why that's a decent weapon. It's 35 points for weapon skill 10. Bretonnian can do that.
Makes you harder to hit is essentially what you're using it for. You did skip one at the top here, the Obsidian Blade for 50 points, though, which is...
I was going over that in my head.
Which is armor saves cannot be made against the wounds caused by the Obsidian Blade.
Back in the day, and the day was different editions, every army book had a weapon that was at 50 points and ignored armor saves.
Okay.
It had some use back then. I've never, in 8th edition, seen anybody use the Obsidian Blade.
It's 50
Armor
points.
is not that big a deal. You have to wound.
It's 50 points.
50 points to ignore armor on a couple of attacks on a character.
And a lot of the times, now your character is depending on the army, obviously, but most of the time they're probably strength 4. So they're going to be -1 armor
that's
save
most
anyway.
of the time. So the thing is, 50 points for no armor save against most units that, okay, now it's all about rank and flank, rank and file, a lot of models, a lot of infantry. They don't have armor in great deal. Like, you don't, like, they're gonna probably ignore your armor. Like, if you bring a sort of might, it's probably enough to ignore the armor of the things you're fighting for only 20 points. It's just, it doesn't have use in it. It's a holdover from previous editions. Obsidian Blade is just really bad.
I think I would rather have the Sword of Strife, which is the +2 attacks for 10 points less.
Yeah, sure. Sure, I agree. No, I agree. I would 100%. It's gonna be more impactful in the game.
Right. I think that is, if you had to choose one of those.
The Sword of Anti-Heroes actually has some value in 10th edition, 8th edition. Oh, I went from 10 to 9.
I personally really like the Sword of Anti-Heroes.
I kind of forgot about it.
I love it.
So it is a 30-point weapon that gives +1 strength and attack for every enemy character in base contact with him or his unit.
So this is where I always play it wrong, because I always forget that it's with his unit too.
Oh wow, no, that's all its value. Because like it's really good against Empire, who put a lot of characters in one unit. Anybody who wants a Death Star have more than one characters in a unit?
But to me, this is really good for my Skaven, because they actually have decent fighting stats.
Yeah.
So you get +1 strength and +1 attack, because you're hitting at strength
per enemy character.
That's what I mean. Like, you can make, because the Skaven characters, like the Warlord, was weapon skill 7, strength 4.
Let's be fair. I mean, it's very common to see 2 characters or 3 unit. Your general, a BSB, and a wizard, or a wizard and a BSB. There's often 2 characters in a unit. Getting +2 strength and attacks for 30 points.
Yeah,
solid weapon.
I like how it gives you the both of them. Big fan of that.
Spell Thieving Sword for 25 points. If a wizard suffers an unsaved wound from this sword, it loses a spell. I'm never ever going to take that. It's way too gimmicky.
Then you're going to, because what it's going to do is going to make you do way more work trying to get your single character to go fight their single wizard, so you can have this one thing work.
Here's how I know it's bad. If it was 5 points,
I still wouldn't bring it.
Wouldn't bring it.
Yep.
Sword of Swift Slaying, 25 points, you get always strikes first. That has value for some armies. It's good for, let's say, Lizardman characters with really bad initiative. Whatever, I'll swing first. I'm not going to reroll, but I'll swing first.
That's true. Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, the Berserker Sword for 20 points, you have Frenzy and you never lose Frenzy. It's worth +1 attack. That's it. I don't know.
Because now that's going to give, is it going to be the same for his unit?
Like, you could...
Like, is the unit going to perpetually get Frenzy too? Or is it only going to be him?
No, only be him. And
Okay.
And that model will be immune to psychology. Yeah, you're never going to see it. You have the Gold Sigil Sword for 15 points, giving you initiative 10.
To be honest,
care if this
you
was
literally said that, and I was like, excuse me, what is this?
The Gold Sigil
I've
Sword?
newer heard of this.
Initiative 10. Who wants to... I don't care. Initiative isn't as impactful to the game anymore.
No.
Unless you have always strikes first and high initiative.
Sword of Striking, another sword I bring often.
It's actually a good sword.
+1 to hit.
+1 to... Because everything in this game can only ever hit on 3s. When you can hit on 2s, it is actually quite good. Like, +1 to hit on any character with strength 5, orcs, saurus, vampires, ogres, anything with strength 5. It's a solid sword. Or, I don't know why do you take it?
I bring it on my Warrior Priest.
Is it only strength 4 base?
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's dirt cheap. It gives them magic attacks too, right? So that's always a good thing.
The other thing about it too is what was I gonna say? It'll always be relevant. Like where sometimes you'll fail the hit, so you won't get to use your extra strength. But at least in this, you're always rolling to hit, so you'll always get the +1. Like, it'll always come up.
Yeah.
So.
Well, okay, the next one is the Biting Blade. I used to have this as a staple. I used to put it on something all the time. Because it's a cheap 10-point magic item that gives them armor piercing. But mostly it's magic for ethereal and stuff. I don't use it anymore. But, like, I don't know. I used to use it all the time. It's better if you have higher strength. Because you want a wound. But basically, it's like if you have 10 points left over on a character that hasn't bought a magic weapon yet, that's when I buy it.
Right. I guess, like... Yeah, I think I'd have depend on how many points I've already put to magic items, because I don't like to put too many points towards magic items. Like, but it could make a difference rather than putting like a single model in a unit, right?
Yeah. My single models for most of my units cost more than that.
Mine are under that, but
yeah, I get you. We have the relic sword next. It's 10 points. The bear the relic sword will always wound on a 5+. There's no situation where I would have a character with this weapon where I want him in a fight where he needs to roll not a 6 to wound.
Exactly.
There's just no value to this weapon.
It's weird. It's weird.
Like it could be situationally good, but that means everything went out of control in a bad way for you.
There were many problems. We got Tormentor Sword, a monster or character that suffers an unsaved wound from the Tormentor Sword, has stupidity for the rest of the game, 5 points.
That means a character charged a monster, did 1 wound to it, and then died. Because the character didn't die, stupidity doesn't matter because he's locked in combat. It's a bad weapon. You did miss one, the Shrieking Blade. Fear for 10 points. Now, I incorrectly played this wrong for many years, thinking because if you didn't have fear, they're immune to fear. Only the character with the sword would be immune to fear. The rest of you would still take fear test. But making your opponent take a fear test for 10 points, I often put this on my wizard if I have 10 points to spare. Because while fear is a mechanic that is not good anymore in 8th edition, every now and then it can help out.
Mm-hmm.
So for 10 points, if I have 10 points left over on a wizard, rarely do these days, I'll throw that on him.
That's it?
Yeah, you're the Warrior Bane.
Oh, Warrior Bane.
A monster or your character suffers an unsaved wound from Warrior Bane, loses 1 attack. Sure, if you're going to get in a prolonged combat, it's actually not terrible. But, like, what character or monster are you going to wound?
That's what I mean. Like, when are you, like, that 5 points, though? Like,
if that was a 5-point enchanted item, maybe you'll see it. But not as a weapon.
It's so weird. It's so weird. Magic armors are next. Again.
Lots of them. Armor of Destiny. It's in every one of my lists. Almost, actually. Not every.
I don't actually bring it that often.
Orcs can't always get good work. Okay, so Armor of Destiny is heavy armor and a 4 board save for 50 points. I like it on my BSBs.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they take, and then a shield. 3 up armor. 5 up. 4 up.
Yep. For Empire, I find that Empire's got better. We're kind of more about the armor saves.
You have a couple wards in your Empire book too.
And then Skaven. I got some. I think I'd rather take the better armor because when I'm doing that, I'm usually putting them on a Rat Ogre Bonebreaker, and then the Skaven have their own full plate armor that deals damage back.
So
and then I can buy myself a Talisman that gives me that. These are
going to be obviously better for other armies. Not like there's generic. This is good for everybody, and like this is good for this army. This is good for this army.
Yeah.
The Trickster's Helm. I don't even remember what this does. The wear it's 50 points. The wear counts as armor save as being 1 point higher than normal. Okay. Any successful roll to wound made against the wearer of the Trickster Helm must be rerolled. Why did we never take that? If I have a toughness 5 character, why have I never taken that?
So he gets +1 to his armor save and counts as 1 higher? Because it's a helm, right? So the helmet's going to add...
No. The helm, it gives him +1.
So that's what's going to count him as being 1 higher?
Yeah, that's what counts.
Oh, okay.
But reroll to wound. That could be interesting. I'm going to try this out in the future. It's 50. It's a little expensive. I'll give it a go.
So again, now I'm going to say...
I don't know why
my Bonebreaker Lord can have T5.
Yeah.
Huh.
What armor would you normally have on him?
It's the reflecting armor.
Can you buy heavy armor?
Yeah.
So he'll have 5 up armor for heavy, mount on the Bonebreaker for 4.
Yeah, and then shield.
Shield for 3, 2 for this.
Yeah. Crap.
Why have you not done that before?
Whoa.
Thank goodness we did this video.
Well, okay, so the one I was doing was a 2-up armor save that every...
Successful armor save to the wound back?
Yeah, does a 4-up.
That's also pretty scary.
Right.
Yeah, they're both...
Because the strength 4 magical.
Yeah, they're... Actually,
I think helmets are actually really good.
Yeah, but if you had that 2-up send wounds back to me, I'm just going to bring my really good obsidian blade.
Of course you are, right? So we've got the Armor of Silvered Steel, so this is one I bring.
Yeah, me too, actually.
45 points, gives the wearer 2-up armor.
Can't be improved anyway.
Nope.
I like this for a high elf lore master who is a melee wizard who can have heavy armor, but that's not enough. I'll give him this for 2-up armor, and I'll take the Book of Oath for the rest of his points. But yeah, it's a solid 2-up armor.
Yeah, no, like there's some armies have not a lot of ways to get armor, so here's a way that everyone can have access to a really good armor save.
Armor of Fortune is another version of Armor of Destiny. It's a 35-point version. Heavy armor that gives you 5 up ward save.
It's kind of like the Talismans where they kind of go down. This is heavy armor that goes down in ward save. Helm of Discord. So you get the helmet plus 1 armor save. And then in addition, at the start of each close combat phase, choose an enemy character in base contact with the bearer of his unit. The bearer or his unit. That character must immediately take a leadership test. If failed, the character succumbs to the helm's stabilitant? Is that what that word is?
Moving on. His whispers.
Of malice and jealousy. In close combat, the victim cannot make attacks and
You know what?
hits automatically.
If you were using the Lore of Death and cast Doom and Darkness on you, so minus
And
2
is
leadership,
hit automatically.
yeah, that could be good if you combo things that
I
modify.
mean,
the
I'm not.
leadership. That's not your style.
Well, no, it's leadership test. You're going to pass every single one. It's not fair.
Glittering Scales, 25 points. Light armor. You're -1 to hit. Now, that's really good. I do that with my Orc with the Fencer's Blades. So he's weapon skill 10. That means most things will hit him on 5s.
This is the
and
combo.
then Glittering Scales, -1 to hit. Now you're hitting on 6s.
Yeah, that's a common 2 magic item combo you see often. That's makes things real hard to kill.
All right, you pronounce the next one.
Shield of Tolos.
What?
Tolos. I'm saying the P is silent.
Patolos. I don't know.
I said the P is silent. I don't know.
Not when you go.
It's a shield for 25 points. Stop. The bearer has +1 armor save against shooting attacks. He's got a 1-up armor save against shooting attacks for a shield. It's good on a lone character.
Spell Shield, 20 points. Is a shield that gives magic resistance 1. Magic resistance 1 isn't terrible. But it's really good if you got a character with like Phoenix Guard who already have a ward save.
Lame. Gambler's armor, heavy armor for 20 points. It grants you a 6-up ward save.
I've lost a game to Luca because of this stupid.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
He just made a 6-up
He
ward
made
save.
like direct hit with your Rock Lobster, 6-up ward save. Dragon Helmet, commonly used
There you
item.
go. Yeah.
10-point helmet gives you +1 to your armor save. And you have a 2-up ward save against flaming attacks.
Yep.
So it adds to your armor save is why people take it, and the 2-up ward save to flaming attacks.
It's nice because you can still wear heavy armor, a shield, and a helmet to give yourself that
Because
additional.
maybe you already gave somebody your Enchanted Shield with just 5 points. Just additional armor
This
save.
is exactly why I use it in my Empire, because I always give out that Enchanted Shield, so I got to give another way. So the next up is, of course, our Enchanted Shield, which is a shield that counts as being 1 armor save better than a normal shield. So it's a shield that gives you +2 instead of +1. Yeah. Armor's good.
Charmed Shield for 5 points. It is a shield, and the bearer discounts the first hit on a 2+. It's pretty good on like monster riding.
I was going to say also individual characters, that and the one that's for shooting attacks, but this one is really good because cannons, you can just ignore the first cannon on a 2-up.
So a lot of these magic armors, we told you where we use them. Like they're usable.
Yeah, armor is great. I spent a lot of points on armor.
You want to keep your characters alive.
Yeah.
Talismans, the very hunter. There's 2 of these in every game we play.
Yes.
The 45-point Talisman of Preservation gives you a 4-up ward save. Every one of our wizards have it.
It's weird. They're like all over the old world.
They're
all over the old world.
You can't graduate wizard school without first going out into the world and finding your Talisman of Preservation.
Yep. 45 points of keep your wizard alive. Super duper important. And then, of course, just like some of the other things, they have degrading ones. So there's a Talisman of Preservation, 45 points for 4-up ward. Talisman of Endurance, 30 points for a 5-up ward. And then it goes down to 15 points for the Talisman of Protection, and that's a 6-up ward.
Oh,
save.
no, I'm sorry. He bought the Talisman of Protection, not the Gambler armor.
Oh, okay.
That's what it was.
Okay.
6-up ward save.
So you essentially pay 5 more points for...
Now, there's something that
Heavier.
we don't do that often is by magic resistance, because there's the Obsidian Lodestone for 45 points to give a unit or give a character magic resistance 3. But there is a Obsidian Amulet for 30 points, magic resistance 2. I used to buy that all the time for my Slan.
Right.
And then there's the, where are you? There's the last one.
Isn't there magic res?
The
Trinket.
Obsidian Trinket for 15 points of magic resistance 1. Honestly, those are, for Slan, I recommend buying the Obsidian Amulet every time. Other than that, having them in your units isn't bad. Getting that magic resistance extra ward save from spells, especially it's in the 8th edition, right? So they're all quite useful, but there are also better ways of getting it.
And the problem is you feel like when you buy them, that's when you're going to get hit by the no saves of any kind allowed spells, and it just kind of feels bad. So that's, I guess, my thought on them. We're going to...
Having a unit like Phoenix Guard or Doomfire Warlocks with just even just one magic resistance.
Sure.
Super useful though.
The Dawnstone is the next one, which I like this one a lot.
I do too.
Bearer rerolls failed armor saves, 25 points.
I love them on Bretonians. I'm not gonna buy ward saves to them because they come with the prayer. Well, they're gonna get a good nice armor save, re-roll it, then you're 5 aboard if it's high strength. I love the Dawnstone. It has uses for my Hyles, my Bretonians. I haven't found use for it with my orcs yet, but you never know.
Empire, Dawnstone's great on your BSB.
We got the Seed of Rebirth that gives a unit a 6-up regen for 10 points.
Yeah, I don't see why that is a thing. Dragonbane Gem, Bearer gets a 2+ ward save against flaming attacks.
I buy it all the time with my Strigoi Vampire Count Lord.
It's 5 points. 5
If you have 5 extra points, throw it on a character.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, you never know when you need it. You also buy a Luckstone. It is a reroll single failed armor save for 5 points.
And we got the Pigeon Plucker Pennant. Item grants the bearer 5-up ward save against wounds caused by models that have the fly special rule.
You know what? The Opal Amulet is 15 points. It's one use only. The Opal Amulet bestows a 4-up ward save against the first wound suffered by the bearer.
Oh, we missed one.
After which its power fades. It's once per game, 4 ward save against 1 wound. I wonder if I just buy that for my wizard going forward. I hope I just don't get caught in combat.
That's
I don't know.
interesting.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting.
Right? You want to try it too? I think I want to try it. I'm gonna. My wizard's gonna die because of that, though.
My wizard's gonna die from
Yours,
that.
mine will be.
Yours is gonna be fine. You're gonna miscast roll a 7. I'm gonna miscast and get sucked into the warp.
Let's talk about magic standards. The first one's called the Rampager standard. The bearer can re-roll charge distance. This thing pisses me off because you would see this in play if it was 50 points. The fact is, it's 55 points.
Has to be a BSB.
It has to be a BSB. That's so like I'm not putting that on my BSB.
And then that's gonna be your BSB.
No,
that's all he's gonna have.
No, he'll get them there and then he's gonna die. This is 8th edition. You need your BSB.
And that's the thing, right? Like,
I need defensive stuff on my BSB.
it's so sad. Next up, Wailing Banner, 50 points. This unit causes terror.
I think it's a little expensive.
Mm-hmm. I think psychology things are. I personally don't like spending points in psychology. It only works against me and doesn't work for me. Everyone else just rolls double 1s, and I roll double 6s.
The Rampager standard is 50 points. You can Strider. You can the units that need this can typically avoid terrain, so it's a little too expensive for me.
I would say depends maybe if you're playing some sort of scenario where something where more terrain is being used. But I think Razor standard though, 45 points, armor piercing for the unit.
Any one of your close combat units that can have this would love to have it, unless they have great weapons already.
Yep.
A Halberdier unit, like my Phoenix Guard, love it. I don't mind it on any elf unit that can take it, but the problem is I really want it on Spearman. They can't take it because it's too expensive.
Halberdiers can't either.
Yeah.
So it's
if it was 25 points, I'd be way happier.
They can't even. Well, because Halberdiers can't take a banner.
Can they at all?
No.
Yeah, that sucks. My Phoenix Guard take it all the time.
Right, and so I don't want to put it on my knights, but it's really good on Storm Vermin.
Yeah.
And things like that. So
it just buffs elite infantry for a little more punch. I think you have elite infantry that needs a little bit more punch.
And I think
take this banner.
With the way of hordes and things, you don't feel bad spending 45 points on a banner when it's for your big combat horde, because that's what's going to be doing a lot of damage, and it doesn't feel like a big point sink.
Next, we got the War Banner, +1 combat resolution. It's 35 points. Now, back in the day, that was previous editions. We already established that. It was in every army somewhere. Now it's 35 points instead of 25 points, which was a stupid thing because a lot of the units can't take it, and it's not worth 35 points. Back in the day, that was previous editions. We've established that. +1 combat resolution made a big difference. Mm-hmm. Now with Horde and everything, you're winning or losing by multiples.
Yes.
Sometimes you win or lose by 1. It's rare. But you're often winning or losing by 7, 8, 9, 10, and you're winning on your steadfast. It doesn't have its effect that it used to have in previous editions.
It just doesn't feel like +1 combat res is always going to be worth 35 points. But what's worth 15 points, the Banner of Swiftness, which is +1 movement.
Solid banner. Any army would love to have it. Army would love to have it.
Because it's good on infantry, it's good on cav.
It's good on everything.
It's great.
We got the Lichborn pendant for 15 points. Magic resistance 1.
Isn't it Lichbone?
Oh, Lichbone. So, I mean, I like any unit with already a ward save. Not that many do. Let's be fair. My
That's
Phoenix
true,
Guard,
right?
I see this more like my Phoenix Guard would rather have the Razor Standard, but say I don't have the points, but I do have 15. I'll buy this.
Yep. Yeah, I can see that. Standard Discipline, another great one, 15 points, +1 leadership, but you cannot use the General's Inspiring Presence.
But if your general's in the unit, he gets +1 leadership and hands out that on his Inspiring
I think
Presence.
that's dumb, personally. I think that's dumb.
I do that all the time with my Slan.
I think
This
it's dumb.
is a staple, a mainstay for like orcs, which I keep forgetting to put in my list. For lizardmen, a lot of army. Yeah, I like even Bretonia. I wouldn't mind getting it into the list everywhere. Standard Discipline, solid banner.
Yeah. This is one of those ones I wish. You know what? Is this?
What are you thinking?
Should I put this on my Skaven BSB?
But he doesn't handle it. Oh,
But my general usually goes in his unit.
okay. So your general goes leadership 8.
He's leadership 7, which goes to leadership 8.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant to say. So you only need 2 ranks for max. Is that why? Oh, but it'll help your war machines. Yep.
Right?
Yep. I do it.
Because I normally just bring I
I
normally bring my BSB with only a shield, right?
Yeah.
So this is 15 point. It's not
Your
a lot of
BSB is
investment.
never in combat, and every time he gets caught in combat, he dies anyway.
Well, the thing is the Skaven, those not the warlords but the chieftains, they actually fight decently. It would be nice to have a fighty
But
chieftain.
it's more important to stay alive than him to fight.
Exactly. So you know what? I'm gonna try that sometime, guys. I'm gonna try that.
We're learning things here too. So we have 10 points for the banner of the Eternal Flame. Your unit gets flaming attacks. Not magical, but flaming. Now, everybody used to have this in their list somewhere. I don't know why I petered off. But like this should be in your list somewhere. Because you never know when you need it. Very few things. There is more regeneration in the game, which this would turn off, than there is Fireborn or things that are immune to fire.
Yeah, I guess like the way I'm thinking about it in my thoughts is for
Lazy here.
for my army is it doesn't really fit my Skaven army because my only banner that could take it is Storm Vermin.
No.
And in Empire, it'd be one of my knights, but they have other banners that they want to take Banner Swiftness, they want to take Banner Discipline, they want to take the other one. So this one, I never really feel like I got
fair.
the
So like, maybe your armies just don't really need it, I guess.
Gleaming Pennant, 5 points, 1 use only. Reroll, first failed leadership test.
The Scarecrow banner. The reason why we don't use this is there's a house rule, but I'll explain in a second. So it's a 5-point banner that it causes fear to use with the fly keyword. Now, fear is not that good, but it's 5 points, so whatever. Throw it on there, stop eagles or whatever. But like the rule is you have to have a Scarecrow modeled on your banner. You can't do it because it's a Scarecrow banner. Otherwise, we'd have it in every list.
Arcane items. That's all the Magic standards.
Yes. Now, you know what? I feel like there's a bunch on here that I haven't read in forever that we should be using more. So, the first one, back in early 8th edition, I've personally used the Book of Asher numerous times for 70
lot.
points. +1 to cast. Now, Dark Elves have that innately.
That's to cast and to spell.
Oh. Ooh. That's why I still use it, because my Hiles are already +1 to dispel. This gave them +1 to cast and +2 to dispel.
But
I haven't used it in so long.
I don't like that.
Okay, yeah, it's 70 points. Oh, yeah, I'm probably gonna start doing that again. It's been a while.
I don't like that.
Feedback scroll for 50 points, 1 use only. When an enemy wizard casts a spell, a wizard who has the feedback scroll can read it instead of attempting to dispel the spell, which means the spell doesn't get dispelled. But the spell is cast as normal. But after the spell has been resolved, roll a dice for every die used to cast a spell. The casting wizard takes a wound for every result of 5+ with no armor saves allowed. It's kind of cool. It's 50 points. You have to have a wizard that can hold it. You have to allow a spell to go through, and then maybe you can kill the wizard. But I mean, if you're allowing a spell to go through, are you really afraid of the wizard? There's too much here. It's not. Move on.
Yeah, it's cool narratively.
But like, honestly, maybe. Okay, hold on. Think of it this way. I let you hit me with it. You threw 6 dice at a spell. It didn't miscast. I let you have that spell, whatever effect that spell is. Maybe I kill your wizard with this. You know what? This has use. I have to try this. You throw 6 dice at a spell. I maybe kill your wizard off and let that effect happen. That's the big point swing. No, you know what? I'm trying it. I'm trying
Interesting.
it.
Okay. Scroll of Leeching. At 50 points again, for when an enemy spell has been cast, a wizard who has a scroll of leeching can read it. The spell, instead of dispelling it, the spell is cast normally, but after the spell is resolved, the bearer of the scroll adds a number of dispel dice to his pool equal to the number of so the amount of dice they use to cast that spell goes that many dice go into your dispel pool. Remember your dispel pool cannot exceed 12. So you essentially 6 dice spell. Instead of dispelling it, I read it and I get 6 more dice for my dispel pool. Wow.
That means I'm more afraid of something else.
Right.
But I'll be less of no.
Right.
Not with the mechanics of 8th edition.
No, because I think you're gonna.
So here's the thing. I would use it early against because the first spells you cast are trying to bait out my dice. So instead of baiting my dice, I'm stealing your dice. Honestly, it does have use. It does have use.
50 points.
But for 50 points, the problem is if this was 25 points, it'd be in everybody's army all the time.
Yeah.
So you know what? This is going to go on the list of things I have to try.
Okay.
50 points though, but 25 would be too cheap. Yeah. Okay, we have the I can't say it.
I have no idea what that is.
Sivigir's Hex Scroll. It's 50 points, 1 use only. When an enemy spell has been cast, a wizard who has the Hex Scroll can read it instead of attempting to spell the spell. The spell is cast as normal, but a portion of the spell's energy is transformed and redirected at the caster. The enemy wizard can resist the spell's effects by rolling equal to or under his wizard level on a d6. If he fails, an amphibian transformation takes hold and he becomes a small, slimy toad. While transformed, the wizard cannot channel or cast spells. All his magic items are mundane equipment. Temporary stop working, whatever.
All his characteristics.
All his characteristics are reduced to 1, except for his wounds, which are unaffected. His controlling player can roll d6 at the start of each of his subsequent magic phases. The spell dissipates on a roll of 4+, and the wizard returns to normal form. It's just no. No.
It's funny.
No. If I'm going to spend 50 points on something the Mess Animated Wizard, it's going to be the feedback scroll.
Yep.
And if I want to spend 100 points on stuff, then I'll buy that as well. I'm not going to do that.
That's weird.
I couldn't even read it. You turn your enemy wizard into a frog on a die roll of 50-50.
And then
he's a level 4. And then 50-50 reverse every time.
Exactly.
Nah.
Power scroll. Now this.
Does it get errated?
This is errated. So.
Okay. Do you remember the errata?
Yes. So. Yeah. Okay. So the power scroll in this book is 35 points, and any attempts or any rolls of doubles will be irresistible. So it's more likely to irresistibly cast the spell. They errated this, and it halves the casting value of the spell.
That's what it was. Yes.
So it's still making a spell easier. So this is one that I'm not allowed to use. Because I'm not allowed to bring this with my Grace here and cast it at 13th on a 13.
Now, to be fair, nobody ever said he's not allowed to do that. He just has decided that it is too cheesy, like the Hellheart and the Dragon Banner, or Brand of the Roll Dragon.
I don't know. I think I've been told to.
By who?
By you.
Me?
I think you said that would be too much. At some point.
I'll tell you what. I'll let you use it if I can bring the Brand of the Roll Dragon.
No.
Fair
I'm going to bring it against Luca. He said he wouldn't care.
Yeah, but Luca, never mind. It's awesome.
I know. Luca's going to do something way worse.
Yeah, exactly. All right, one of the Jet. Of Jet?
Oh, of Jet, yeah.
35 points, 1 use only. The bear can increase his casting result by an additional d6 after other casting dice have been rolled. This extra power dice can contribute to casting the spell with irresistible force and a miscast. So, it's actually really quite good. It's an extra die for whenever you might need it. The problem is it's a little too expensive, and it's an arcane item, and there's other arcane items you need, but it's actually quite useful. It's just the problem is it's arcane type and its points.
Would this allow you to throw 7 dice at a spell?
Yes.
Neat. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering. I was reading that trying to be like, is there any...
Unless the FAQ says otherwise.
Right.
The second sentence is this extra power die. So... you can argue that no act. You know what? Because it says it's power die, I would say no. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just wondering, just because like the way it's worded,
I have to
right?
look at an FAQ, but I would safely say, I think the safe answer is no, because it very clearly says this extra power die in the rules. It says you may not throw more than
6 power dice.
dice. Yeah.
I can see that. Forbidden Rod, 35 points. Forbidden Rod adds extra d6 dice to the power pool at the start of the caster's own magic phase, but inflicts d3 wounds on the bearer. So it could literally just kill your wizard.
No, never.
35 points.
Never gonna risk that.
Risk, yeah, because how much? Just the wizard levels alone is what in points?
Like if you had
Because it's 35 points a wizard
a
level.
wizard level, if you had a level 1 wizard walking around to carry this to maybe do you a one-trick pony, maybe, but that's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points.
The Trickster Shard for 25 points. When it's only declare you're using this item at the start of your magic phases. For the duration of that phase, when one of your bearer's spells is dispelled by an enemy wizard, roll a d6. On a 5-up, that wizard suffers a wound with no armor saves allowed.
Cool.
You know what? That actually has some uses. Again, it sucks that it's an arcane item.
I was going to say, because there is the Trickster Shard, but for 25 points as well, I could take the Earthing Rod, which I do almost every game.
You have to.
Because
you have to.
one use only allows you to re-roll your result on the miscast table. So when you roll the double ones or the double sixes and you die, you don't.
Yeah, you have to bring that. An expensive wizard, you have to bring it. Next to the Dispel Scroll, an enemy casts a spell. Instead of rolling to dispel it, you can say you're going to read your Dispel Scroll. It's one use only. The spell is immediately dispelled so long as it wasn't cast irresistible force. It is such a mainstay. You have to have this in your army. We've just played so many games of Fantasy over the years. We just kind of agreed. No more Dispel Scrolls. I think it was Lose the Day originally, right?
I think so.
Either way, I was down for it. I don't know if you ever even remotely cared.
No,
but like, we were all happy to get rid of it because the Dispel Scroll, because all you're doing is you're baiting out the Dispel Scroll and then you're hoping for a good next magic phase. It just made the game take longer.
Right, and because of the Dispel Scroll, I think it nullifies a lot of the items on this list. That one item, because it's so powerful, everything else on this list almost is null and void because almost every wizard needs an arcane item. That's a Dispel Scroll.
I don't want to have to have multiple characters with arcane items. It's a lot of points.
Right, like it pretty much makes like at least one wizard in your army only have a 75-point allowance for magic items because you are going to bring that Dispel Scroll. That's why we decided to actually play 2,000 point, or actually 2,000 point games as opposed to 1975.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
That's what we were doing.
That's what you're doing, right? Next we have the Power Stone for 20 points. I feel like this is routed too. The wizard can declare he's using the Power Stone immediately before casting a spell. If he does, 2 extra dice are added to the power dice that he's going to roll. You'll still need to roll at least 1 die from the power pool. Was that a routed? No.
I think that one's the same.
It's the same?
I think that one's the same.
That's actually a good one. Again,
is.
it's an arcane item. That's the only downside to it. It is fairly costed. You can argue maybe it's too cheap, but whatever. 20 points is a good price for it.
Mm-hmm.
It can really change a magic phase for you. I wish it was not arcane, but it makes sense that it's arcane, obviously.
Right.
You only have one arcane item. That's the issue. These consumable arcane items should be buy as many as you want if you can afford them, right?
Oh yeah, I see. Next up, we've got Scepter of Stability, 15 points, 1 use only. So, and it's essentially, what was it?
It's like the Wand of Jet.
That's what it was. It was the Wand of Jet. So it's like,
this is so
you
good.
get an extra d6 to your dispel attempts.
I throw all my dice and oh man, you beat me by 2. Wait, I have my Scepter of Stability. I stopped it.
15 points.
The problem is arcane. It's so freaking frustrating.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's so good. And then finally we have the Scroll of Shielding for 15 points, 1 use only. When an enemy spell has been cast, a wizard who has a Scroll of Shielding can read it instead of attempting to dispel the spell. The spell is cast as normal, but the target of the spell is granted a 4 board save against any wounds caused by the spell. That's not terrible. If you have magic resistance, the unit getting targeted, that's way better. But I'm not gonna use my arcane item on that item.
And again, it's you did forget the channeling staff, which is +1 to channel.
Oh right, it's kind of terrible.
Except your slan.
Unless you have a slan who channels on a 5+ and uses 3 dice. Yeah, channeling staff is good for 1 model in this game, one book. Yeah, arcane items. There's more good ones in there than there should be.
Yes.
There's only ever 1, maybe 2 characters in the list. Typically,
it's funny.
Arcane item.
Actually, now that I'm looking at it, the weapon, magic armor, talismans that all characters can take is smaller than the arcane items, and arcane items have significantly fewer models that can actually take from that list.
That's unfortunate.
That's weird. That's weird.
One last section of magic items, the enchanted items. The first one is the wizarding hat. I want to take it, but I don't want to. Maybe I'll do it with orcs.
So you're literally Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, it's 100 points. The wearer is treated as a level 2 wizard, but it chooses a spell lore at random from the rule book.
Hell yeah.
It also has stupidity. This is like the Crown of the Gash. It's what what's his name wears.
Arcane the Black?
No. The orc character.
Oh.
Ashag the Slaughterer. So he gains stupidity because the wizarding hat is talking to him.
Oh.
It's 100 points. Honestly, if this was 50 points, I probably still wouldn't do it.
It's really funny.
It's way too expensive.
If it's the and honestly, the next item is really good too for like they're nice meme items.
We just agreed. Everybody's agreed never to bring a folding fortress in the game.
Bosrick's Folding Fortress, 100 points. After the deployment zones have been agreed, but both armies have been deployed, place a watchtower building or scratch-built structure of similar size in a deployment zone to represent the folding fortress. It's treated as a standard building. You literally just get a build. You get a building, 100 points. You want a building?
Maybe we shouldn't ban it. If we unban it, would you bring it?
Why would I?
The thing is, I would.
So we don't.
You can manipulate the table. I can hide behind your kids.
The thing is like we don't really use the garrisoning rules very often, do we?
No, but I can if I'm playing demons, I'm bringing the. Oh, you can't bring it if you're playing demons. Never mind.
Ta-da!
Yeah. The Arabian Carpet for 50 points, infantry only, or monsters infantry on foot. They gain the fly special rule, but can't join units. So we just fly around the magic carpet. It's 50 points. When the Slan could take it, it was better. But the fact is, the Slan technically isn't on foot, so they said you can't do it. Okay. I don't know what character I would safely put on this.
That's the problem, though. Like, lone characters are just so targetable.
Yep.
That it's just a liability, and then 50 points for a liability?
Yeah, 50 points for liability. Crown of Command for 35 points. Stubborn. It's one of the best items in the book. I don't bring it that often.
I don't like to bring it often. It's a little.
It's appropriately costed. It is super effective, but hard to squeeze in on characters where you want to put it.
I honestly think it should be 5 points higher, just because it.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
But like just because it's brought so often.
It needs to be on a combat. It needs to be on a character in a combat unit.
Yes.
So he wants a little defense or punch.
Yeah. So you could still buy your armor and that, right? And then probably your Sword of Might. You can buy some armor, you can buy the Crown of Command and the Sword of Might.
Well, Crown of Command, Enchanted Shield, and you have 10 points left over for that 6-up ward save. And if it's lucrative, someone will just make it.
Healing Potion.
Wait, is it 10 points for the ward save? Go ahead.
It's 5 points. It's 10 points for the heavy armor with the ward save. So you can buy heavy armor with a ward save. Look at you go.
No, heavy armor with the ward save is 20 points.
Oh, never mind. So it is 10
points?
points?
The ward save is 15 points.
15.
So you can buy the Crown of Command and the 6-up ward save.
Woo. Healing Potion. So, one use only. The healing potion can be drunk at the start of any of the controlling player's turns. Immediately recover D6 lost wounds.
I use every year Skaven guy a lot, eh?
This game would have a different one.
Oh, it's not that one.
So, the potions, there is the healing potion, and then there's a potion of strength, potion of toughness, and potion of speed. So they're all going to give you 3 of whatever the stat is. The strength and toughness are 20 points, and then the speed is 5 points.
Problem is you have to drink them at the start of your turn.
And that's the problem.
Before you declare charges.
That's the thing. Now, with the Skaven one, the Skaven one specifically is at the start of any phase.
Yeah.
Which is what makes it...
Even the potion of toughness. You're about to charge me, I'll drink my potion of toughness, declare charges, you're not charging me, god damn you.
You're right, and that's it. And there's even the foolhardiness, which is immune to psychology and devastating charge.
Yeah,
that one...
5 points, that was not bad.
That one's not bad.
Extra attack for 5 points once.
But
drink it because you know you're going to charge.
They are also, like, it's kind of situational, and honestly, you might forget them.
Yeah, that's what I find happens the most.
Right. That's.
I actually take the potion of... I've taken the potion of foolhardiness numerous times and forgotten.
The potion of speed is also another good one, potentially.
Not for me, I don't know.
But...
Plus 3 initiative. It's 5 points once, yeah.
Yeah, but... Yeah, because you're a freaking elf.
Yeah, I know. Well, or I'm really low with Saurus was 1.
And you're a great weapon or whatever, right?
Yeah, it's good for like the midline, like the humans.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right?
We got the Featherfoe Torque. I don't know what that is. It's a flying creatures and their riders must reroll successful hits against the bearer or any units he's with in close combat. for 35 points. That's not terrible, but I mean, if I'm getting on the character, that's the Crown of Command instead. That's why it's not that great. The Ruby Ring of Ruin is something I bring quite often. It is a bound spell 3. It comes with a Fireball spell, but it's been errated somewhere. I know that. It only casts the lowest level, a D6 strength.
So, I played this the other day and I was dumb.
What?
Because I didn't play. I, for some reason, was casting it like it was the normal Fireball spell. So I was like,
who are you playing against?
Luca. And I was just, I didn't even say anything. I never probably verbalized it. I was just like throwing 3 dice at it. And then I'm like, wait, why was I throwing 3 dice at it? I'm an idiot. So,
What do you do? You have to roll 3+.
Well, you roll 2. You throw 2 dice.
You throw 2. I know, but it's harder to spell.
I throw 3 dice at it because I was dumb. Terrifying Mask of Eve. The wearer of the mask causes terror. However, models can never use leadership, so don't put it on your general. But boo, he's scary.
Oh, we have the other Trickster Shard for 15 points. Models in base contact with the bearer, friend and foe, must reroll successful ward saves. So this is actually pretty good. Because you don't reroll your ward saves because it's models in base contact. So as long as your unit doesn't have a ward save, that means including parry.
Okay, but even honestly, if you got to reroll your 6 up parry, like, and it's like whatever.
The other Trickster Shard is in many assassination type builds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's a good 15-point relic.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the final one.
The Iron Curse icon, the character, and any unit you're with, gain 6 up ward save against War Machine weapons.
I use it often, actually.
Really?
I do. I have it in most of my lists. If I have 5 points left over, that's the first. The game was for you guys is weeks ago. The game we played today was the first time I played Silverhelms without the Iron Curse icon somewhere there.
Oh, what do you know?
I have a character in that unit, Iron Curse icon. It doesn't matter. Yeah, any Cav, Iron Curse icon.
But I think going just to talk about magic items in general about Warhammer 8th edition, I think in previous editions you saw a lot more army book
Yes.
items being used. The armies that still have the holdover books for like Beastman, Bretonnia, and Skaven, if you look at those army books, you can still see the holdover, and you can actually see some of the items in here that have different point costs from back in the day.
Even the early 8th edition books, Empire or Tomb Kings, they have very few magic items. Because the idea was put them all in the rule book and have a few custom ones. And like they changed ship on that one. Like, they started adding more and more and more. So my rundown of these magic items is the weapons there's a few good ones, and there's a lot of redundant crap. Yes. The armor, there's a lot of good ones. The talismans, there's a lot of good ones. The banners, a lot of good ones, but the problem is not a lot of units in the game, and not enough units in the game can take them because their point cost restrictions are too high. Arcane is frustrating because there's so many good and useful ones, but you can't get enough characters in a list to take them. And there's a few that are just so good that they're just like, I'm not going to try this fun one because this is just too critical.
Right. It impacts the physical gameplay too much.
Everybody takes the Dispel Scroll. And then once we decided to not do that, everybody takes the Channel Earthing Rod.
Yeah.
And if we ban that one, then we'll start seeing other fun stuff.
Which it'll be interesting to see.
But I would never ban that one.
Right. Now, like, because if the miscast table wasn't so thing, it would be interesting to see, like, what the difference would be.
Yeah, I know. So the miscast table has been a lot friendlier previously. 1 to 4 wizard potentially 50-50 dead is it happens far more than you realize. And then enchanted items, some of the best stuff are there.
Yeah.
And some of the worst stuff's there.
Yep.
That's my rundown of the magic items.
Yeah, I think that's kind of it. I guess if you do we want to do ones from army books? Probably not.
For what?
For army books? Probably not.
No. I covered them in every book, right?
Yeah, you already did. We already did. So if you want to go over a specific army book, magic items, go back to the specific army book reviews, skip to that section. Steve will talk about them there.
All of them, yeah.
So
there you go, guys. That is it for 8th edition.
I think next week
is only one thing left to do.
Yeah. So next week we will be making a Warhammer 8th edition armies tier list. So we're gonna take all the codexes, we're gonna put some thought into it, and we are going to rank from top to bottom, best to worst.
The debating has already begun. We were shockingly on par exactly. We individually made the list.
Yep.
And we were like, oh God, I agree. Oh God, I agree. It was copy and paste. It was like, oh, I did this switch, you did this switch.
And then it's like, once you bring up a certain point, it's like, oh, okay, that makes... I see why we did that, and that makes sense,
We're
right?
going to have to do a lot of expose, but yeah, that's happening next week, and that will wrap up the many years late series of Warhammer whatever.
Warhammer whatever.
I forgot what edition we were covering. I played a lot recently. Thanks for watching, guys. Oh, also,
You want to be a member of this channel?
there's a link in the description below.
Click that link. Join.
Without the members, none of these videos exist, so I appreciate you guys. If you can't support financially, totally understandable, not everybody can. Liking the video, commenting the video, what was the third one? Oh, and subscribing to the channel.
Yes.
All things that are actually very beneficial to me. If you consider, at least just do that. 40% of you guys are not subscribed.
We need to help that algorithm grow.
The algorithm, guys. I understand
algorithm.
these things as a man in almost his 40s. I totally
Algorithms.
understand what's happening with those.
Math.
I think it's...
Science.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Happy wargaming.